Hey, how's it going, everybody? It is Jazzy Video Store Sasquatch here, and we are doing another Throwback Thursday. We have a couple old movies I watched, a couple, then the box office report, and I don't believe I mean, we have a little bit of news. Let's start with the news here. The Scream 7 has post-wrapped their production. I've kind of like, I'm a big Scream fan. I love Scream. I can't wait for that movie to come out. When that movie comes out, we'll probably do like a whole Throwback Thursday and Horror Week on Scream movies and what they mean. And I mean, you go back to the content, we have my best Screams ranked and all that kind of stuff. So I am a big Scream fan. I believe that that is the horror movie of my generation, as I have told people, as to where the early 80s kind of, had the 70s guys on 80s had Michael Myers, and then you kind of get a little bit longer into the mid '80s, and you get Freddy Krueger's and the Jason Voorheeses and stuff like this, and then kind of 90 what 5 96 when the first Scream came out would have been my about my time. Honestly, that's a little early for me, but I just kind of take it because I'm not a big Saw fan, and Saw really would be the one franchise of my generation that lasted the longest because but I decided I'm not into like huge torture porn. I'd rather watch the slasher movies. Like we said, I do enjoy the Saw movies. I've watched all of them. I'm just saying that's how it is. But it is cool that we are in Scream 7 already, and Nev Campbell's coming back, and we get all this stuff. You figure after 2000 we were, or after what, 2009 or 2010, whenever Scream 4 came out, we weren't getting any more Screams, and we got actually two good streams here with Scream 5 and 6, so I am definitely looking forward to Stream 7. And that is in post production, so that means it will be ready. I think it's uh, early July. I think it's like an early 2026 release, but I'm not positive. I'm sure I can look it up after this and find out for sure. The first movie I watched this week was Varsity Blues. It's kind of going back into the school theme. Plus, we have football coming in, so I watched two football high school movies. The one is Varsity Blues, directed by Brian Robbins, starring James Vanderbeek as John Voight, Paul Walker, and Ron Lester, who is Billy Bob, if you don't know the name. A backup quarterback is chosen to lead a Texas football team to victory after the star quarterback is injured. This movie is a classic. It takes on a lot of the social problems that probably were going on in the 90s and maybe early 2000s. I think that one, medicine has advanced. A lot of the stuff that they were talking about with the cortisone shots and stuff they were doing to keep the players active is gone, and because this is medical stuff. I mean, you still can make the choices. And I know that for a fact that in the '90s, there's two quarterbacks in the NFL that took out both their ACLs just to play football. So both these quarterbacks didn't have both their ACLs, played a whole career of football. It's just kind of the way it kind of worked back then. Also, the concussion thing with Billy Bob is another like obviously hot bed, like hot topic in the old. I'm trying to think of how to say it. It's a hot topic in the old NFL, in the old football today, and it definitely was not something that was brought up much into the '90s, and they definitely brought that up with Billy Bob there. It's crazy that those things happen. That's how those kind of, just shit happens, and it's crazy. It's football. Scott Kahn, Amy Smart, Ali Larder, Jesse Plemons was the young Harbor brother. So it's crazy that he was in this movie. This came out on January 15th, 1999. Had a budget of $16 million, an opening weekend of $15.2 million, and a total gross of $54.2 million. I think the staying power of it. I think even the pop culture references into it is the most like significant thing about this movie. Even in like 2007 or 2010, Michael Scott was bringing it up into The Office, and other programs were still bringing up this. Ali Lauder, I mean, she's still into a hit series today with Landman. Obviously Paul Walker, unfortunate. Like Jesse Plemons, I brought up, still big. Scott Conn was just doing something with Y50. I'm pretty sure that's like 12 years ago. Now that I think about it, but I haven't seen him since. Or he did that missing show on Fox, what, like 5 years ago. So he's still around. So a lot of staying power of this cast is crazy. Even James Vanderbeek does random stuff. I believe he had an ABC show for a while there too. So interesting stuff with this movie. There's a lot of cool scenes that are a lot of memorable scenes. I should say cool scenes. A lot of memorable scenes. A lot of way that they use the music and like Thunderstruck and stuff like this in the one scene or when they're getting rocked is awesome. Like the hits look good. I believe that they even had the cast go into football training camp for like 3 weeks before or 3 or 4 weeks before even casting, so that they were actually ability they had some ability or looked like they were a little bit more natural. So always good to work in that in. And that is Varsity Blues, directed by Brian Robbins. And the second movie we're going to talk about here is actually like one of the newest movies we've ever talked about on Throwback Thursday. And it is Home Team, directed by Charles Kinane and Daniel Kinane. I believe they're a married couple if you look at the picture on IMDb. Kevin James, Taylor Lautner, and Rob Schneider and Jake Sandler all star in this. New Orleans Saints head coach Sean Payton coaches his son's sixth grade football team while he was being suspended for the entire 2012 season as a result of his role in the Saints Bounty Gate scandal. This is a Happy Madison production, so like we were never gonna get like a serious portrayal of like what Sean Payton was going through at that point in time, and like we were never gonna see like what he was actually doing or like what was all involved. It's kind of like just kind of glossed over. As a matter of fact, it's like 3 phone calls that you get where they even bring up the Bounty Gate scandal to him himself. I don't mind that. I think this movie is a lot of fun with the kids involved with it, with the football team obviously being a rags to riches kind of story here that like every sports fan loves, where we have an underdog. He kind of it kind of hit into like some probably serious stuff that him and his son probably had to go through, especially with like a brutal NFL schedule where he's not always going to be around and stuff like this. You know what I mean? So they kind of played in that a little bit. But like I said, this is a Happy Madison production. This wasn't going to be a very serious movie, but it was going to be a very good movie and like a fun movie too. And that is exactly what they came out with. His daughter's in this, Sonny Sandler's in this, Gary Valentine's in this, Lavelle Crawford's in this, and then Maxwell Simpkins, who is in a couple movies that I've seen. He's kind of like a rising little kid actor. He has podcasts in the Mighty Ducks. That's pretty much how I know him. He's in this, so he was one of the ones that I actually knew right off the bat just from Mighty Ducks. And then Bill Cowher kind of shows up. There's other personalities like Dan Patrick, of course, shows up for like a sports news segment. Like I highly doubt. I don't remember that time. I mean, I watched football at the time because we were there all involved, and I remember watching the Bounty Gate part, and I remember watching the Favre part, particularly going there, like particularly going after that guy in that game. And I remember thinking that and saying that while watching it, but I don't really remember them bringing up the fact that Sean Payton was coaching his son's team like they kind of did on the Dan Patrick show. Of course, I highly doubt Dan Patrick talked about it, but that's kind of they use Dan Patrick as like a narrative, like a real sports show as like a narrative tool, which is all right. It's what they can do. It's Happy Madison. It's fun. There's funny scenes throughout this movie. It kind of keeps the spirit of like a Little Giants and stuff like this. If you haven't seen it, I recommend just watching it, especially if you're a football fan. I'd probably give this like a C plus overall. I mean, but it's better than average, but it's not just barely better than average. But it's fun. It's quick. It's an hour and a half. So, it's on Netflix, the Netflix original. Of course, it's a Happy Madison production, and so I can't give you a budget and I can't give you how much money it's made. But that is Home Team, directed by Charles Kanan and Danielle Kanan. And then our box office report for August 8th through the 10th, as Weapons is the number one movie. I think we kind of figured that, even though that Fantastic Four is only in its third week of here. Not only do we get Weapons at 43.8 million, or 43.5 million, sorry, but we get Freakier Friday at 28 million. That also outdoes Fantastic Four, which is not something I really would have expected. I would expect a little bit higher showing from Fantastic Four. I think the drop off here is crazy, but I think that I kind of pointed out last week when we talked about it was it's just everyone that's going to see a Marvel movie is going to see it week one, and then they're going to go to the streaming if they don't care about it otherwise, because they're not going to want anything spoiled. The total this week for Fantastic Four was 15.8 million, 235.1 million dollars total. Still brings it way behind Superman. And then the fourth movie, and only other movie to go over 10 million, was the Bad Guys 2 week 2 here at 10.8 million with 47.2 million dollars total. Nothing like too out of the ordinary. The one thing I will say is I don't expect a drop off of weapons like we saw with Superman and Jurassic World and the last 3 or 4 weeks. Number one movies where the next week it's kind of like a 50% drop off. I honestly almost would guess this movie will be around 35 million in the second week. It might even take the number one movie just because Mr. Nobody 2 is the only other movie that debuts next week that could even give it a shot. And I don't know if that it's going to have the power to get above it. I could see that going around 20 million. You know what I mean? And I can see the word of mouth of weapons just spreading. And I mean, it's a really good movie. I saw it. I recommended it. Very thoroughly recommended it. There's the number one movie on the list this right now for 2025. So that's just how it is. That is our throw. Let me know what movie you plan on seeing this weekend if you're going to see a movie. Thank you guys very much for watching, and please have a good rest of your day or night.
Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Comment your top movie picks for Throwback Thursday in the comment section. And see you next time in the cave.